Hello, welcome back with another episode of Recovery Dan. I always start out by thanking all of you that subscribe. Thank you to those, the new people that subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys really did well with that 10-day challenge. If you did, if you was able to do so, then I would like for you to leave me a comment. I always try to read your comments. I appreciate your likes. This episode, I want to talk about, the severity of addiction and what it feels like to be caught up in addiction. I could only use this example right here. If you hear anything, it's my son pulling up. So excuse the noise briefly. Addiction is like being in a jar. And when you enter in the phase of addiction, what I'll call, when you first begin, everything seems to be, just that honeymoon period where, everything is going good, you haven't lost anything. It's just basically you're able to maintain an addiction. But as time go by, you're entering this jar. And and once you enter in this jar, the more you get caught up in addiction and dealing with the struggles, you begin to put that lid on. And what happens, the longer you stay caught up in addiction, the tighter the top gets. And it gets to the point when you're in addiction, it's no way out. There's no way out. You claw and you scratch and you do everything possible to try to get out of this jar. And you can make it to the top, but you always slide back down. And a lot of times when you slide back down, a lot of people give up. They feel like, hey, you know what? What's the point in trying to get out? Every time I get so close, all I do is just slide back down. But you know what's in this jar? It's broken homes, it's broken marriages, it's loss of children, it's waking up every day, and all that's in this jar is pain and heartache, and there's no way out of this jar. And you can't figure out how to get out of this jar. So you're in this whirlwind, just like a tornado. You just going around and around, and you're trying to find the next drug. You're trying to find the next drink that will help you suppress them feelings. You do anything in this world to suppress those feelings because you're trapped in this jar, and you just don't know how to get out of this jar. I was in this jar for 20 years. For 20 years, I was captured in this jar. And so many times I wanted to be rescued from addiction. But you know what? This lid, it got tighter and tighter and tighter. But the thing about it, it has to come a point. You got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. You got to come up with a solution of how to get this top, to start loosening up. And you know what? When I decided enough was enough, you know what? That was the first turn. I was tired. That was the first turn on this lid. The next turn came when I went and got help. Because you know what? I couldn't get out of this jar alone. So I sought help. That was another turn. And then as it began to turn I began to receive knowledge about addiction and suffering. And I had a couple of days sobriety. That was another turn because it really felt good for me. In 20 years being trapped in this jar, it felt so good to have just one day, alcohol and drug free. That was another turn. But I just kept one day at a time. Then I had to get my spiritual life in balance. So I began to read my Bible. I began to pray a little bit. And then I began to pray a whole lot. And then next thing I know, I went to church. And this lid began to loosen up. loosen up. I began to go to AA meetings. I began to go to NA meetings. I began to reach out and seek help until this lid finally come off and I was free. I was free to live my life with peace and happiness and joy. Because what I'm telling you, this jar is a prime example of what it's like when you're caught up in addiction, just trying to find your way out. So that's what I just want to give you, that example of what addiction felt like to me. For 20 years, that's all I had. I just couldn't get out of this jar. Bound, bruised, for 20 years, just trapped inside of this jar. But I thank God that He had showed me that there was another way out. But you know, you have to make some choices, you guys. If anybody tried to do the 10-day challenge, and if you didn't make the 10-day challenge, don't even give up. Some of you may not have even tried to do the 10-day challenge. You may feel like you just can't do it. But you know, you have got to do something, because if you don't do something, you always keep reservations. You're always gonna have reservations to get high, to get drunk. Because that mind don't never stop. It never stops turning when you're caught up in addiction. Even if you go out on Friday and spend your whole paycheck, before your paycheck is gone, you already making reservations for the next day, in the next Friday, in the next payday, in the next payday. And it's just that vicious cycle that I talked about. Can you imagine being in this? Can you imagine just only being in this jar with this vicious cycle that's just repetition, just continue to just turn and turn and turn until you just drives you about nuts? Because you know what? Being in this jar, I lost everything. Everything I ever loved in my life, I lost it being in this jar. And not finding my way out. Lost everything. And so, you know, if I can come out of this jar after 20 years of being in this whirlwind, then I know that you can come out of this jar too. I know it for a fact, if you really want it, if you're just willing. If nothing changes, nothing changes. You gotta make the right choices. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. You got to make the right choices in your life. I mean, how far do you have to go before you turn around? And then again, what is it gonna take to turn you around? I keep saying it, and I can't emphasize this enough. This fentanyl we have out there is killing people, y'all. It is killing people. Now it's not no time to be out there and just trying to get and want to stay out there. Any pill you might take. Like I said, if you could go to a bar and somebody drop something in your drink. You know, you're taking a chance. Nowadays, it's bad out there. And I think about it often. And I listen to mothers and fathers crying and talking about how they lost their child due to fentanyl when they thought it was one thing and they was taking another. But guys, you got to be strong. You got to be strong. You cannot, you can't just give in to temptation just because it comes to you. Temptation gonna come. But I tell you what, it's one thing I've always been able to do when temptation came my way. I don't forget this. Any temptation that ever come my way, a desire to, if it ever came to me to take a drink, even if the thought come to my mind, I begin to, I just see this in my mind. The pain, the suffering, the shame, the guilt, the remorse, the bitterness, the sadness, the loneliness. I see it all in here. And when I just think about it, I begin to say, Lord, I thank you. I thank you for delivering me from the bondage of drugs and alcohol. Any temptation ever come my way, I never forget the pain. I never forget the pain. I thank the Lord for that. I thank the Lord for that, because I tell you what, it has kept me for 16 and a half years, because I never forget the pain. I don't ever want to feel that pain again. Some of you know what it's like. You know what it's like when I was homeless and laying up. And I mean, I can't even begin to tell you all that was involved in this job. But I'm thankful. I am so thankful. I am so thankful that the lid is off today. When are you gonna take the lid off of your job? When are you gonna let all of this mess go? When are you gonna want the freedom of not being in bondage of this addiction? Isn't it worth fighting for, to get this lid off, where you can finally be free once and for all? Where you can just, some nights, you know, you can just smile and can you just say, man, you know what? I didn't have to get high today. I didn't have to get drunk today. Man, I'm just being me. You know, I am so thankful. I don't smoke marijuana. I smoked that mess for years and years and years. And I don't have to do none of that. I am free. I am free. Free indeed. Yes, I'm free. And I'm so thankful for that. But, you know, it's not too late to make a change in your life. I don't care how far down. I don't care how tight this lid is on. I don't care how many times you was able to get to the top and you fell right back down in this whirlwind again. But you can't give up. You can't give up. You got to be willing. You got to want it. And I tell you what, it's worth it. The peace is worth it. Being around my family, my grandchildren, it's the most beautiful thing. I am so thankful for that. I cherish that. But this right here is the most miserable life you can ever be in, to be trapped inside of this job and thinking that there's no way out. When you stop trying to get out, when you don't believe that you can get out and you settle for being in here, you settle for this. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. After 20 years of being in here, I still couldn't settle for being in here. That's not the way I wanted to go out. I didn't want to go out and never make it out of this jar. I wanted to experience what it was like to be free. I needed to experience that. I wanted to know what it felt like to be free once and for all. I'm pleading with you. You can get this lid off. You can get this lid off and you can keep it off. So I'm not doing a lengthy video today. I just wanted you to understand that you don't have to live in this thing for the rest of your days on this earth. After so many years of being tormented in this thing, in this jar, man, you deserved some peace. You deserve some happiness. I don't care. I don't care if you're homeless. I don't care if you're up under a bridge. I don't care if it doesn't matter, because this lid can come off if you really want it to. But you have got to make a move. You have got to do something to help yourself. If you can go to places and get help for free. The Healing Transition in Raleigh, North Carolina is free. I do drugs and alcohol classes that I do at my church every Sunday morning. It's called The Gap. We have a great time. It's a room full of recovering addicts and alcoholics. and we all share and we all talk about it and we all lift one another up. You don't have to do this alone. If you're in Raleigh, North Carolina, or in Wake County, we're at 2312 Lake Willow Road in the gymnasium from 8. We start at 8 in the morning. We have refreshments, and it's just a bunch of people, man, that you know what? We were able, with God's help, we were able to get the lid off and keep it off. And that's why we meet, and that's why we lift one another up, so with this lid don't ever have to go back on. And so I'm encouraging you, if you're in Wake County, and if you would like to stop by and visit our class, it's taught by Mr. Claiborne Wiggins, and we have a great staff, and all we do is just pour out as much love as we can. And we address addiction. We're honest with it. We laugh together. We cry together. And you know, we certainly welcome you to come and be a part of our GAP class. And the GAP stands for going to another place, and God answers prayers. You know, like I said, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Don't be ashamed to reach out. Don't be ashamed to reach out. Like, the only shame that I ever had is that I didn't go and get help soon enough. You know, I wished I would have went years before that, but you know, it's a time and a place for everything. But again, you know, to all my new subscribers, I want to thank you so much for subscribing. I pray that each and every one of you will be blessed. I pray that, you know, if you went back into that jar, you can make it back out and you can stay out. But you're gonna have to do the work. You got to put the work in. You just got to put the work in. Like I said, today it's not hard for me. It's not hard for me at all, because I want it and I enjoy it, and I'm thankful for what I have today. I'm so thankful for that. It's nothing like having that peace in your life that God gives us. There's nothing like it. So with that being said, you know, I hope to do another video in the next couple of weeks. Been busy here. My son helps me out, and he's been busy in this last month. So we're trying to get back on pace, and the next video, you know, I'm gonna have something great to share with you. But again, I just want you to know again, isn't it time? Isn't it time? Isn't it time once and for all to take the lid off? Take the lid off. Take the lid off. And come out of the bondage of alcohol and drugs. Again, for those of you that leave comments, I do my best to get back with you. And again, I thank you so much for subscribing. It means a lot. In your likes, it's what keeps me going. But I've been blessed to see a lot of people that's finally free from being in that jar in my classes, and it's amazing to me, you know, the things I get to experience, the freedom that I see people have, not being caught up in addiction. But I just want to say again, thank you so much for subscribing. And if you do have any questions, just leave it in my comment section. I'll get back with you. And I really want you to just fight with everything you have. Fight for your life. Fight for your children. Fight for your wife, your husbands. Fight for yourself. Fight for yourself. It's worth it. It's worth every bit of it. Again, thank you. God bless you. And we'll see you soon. And don't forget, as I always say, you are somebody. Never forget you are somebody. God bless you.